Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am playing with these welcome home stamps from Brutus Monroe, and I'm actually going to make a card. So let's see what I can do.
All right, guys, so I start out with a piece of white cardstock, and I go ahead and spritz some water over top of it. Then I drop my red aqua pigment on top of that, and then my gold on top of that. So I'm going to mix the red and the gold together on the actual cardstock instead of mixing it on a palette or a surface or anything like that. Now, I did want the edges of my card the same depth of color as the center, so I did go ahead and add a few more drops of the red aqua pigments around the outside. So I've gone ahead, I've covered it all completely up. I'm going to peel it up off of my cutting mat here and place it off to the side to dry. So that while that is drying, I am going to make my card. So I've decided to use the door, a wreath, and I'm also going to use the "We have moved" sign. Now, I did pull out the other little kind of branches because I'm going to add that to my background of the card. I'm using the Raven Detail ink and a stamp positioner tool. Now, the good thing about that is that if you don't get a clear, wow, I am merging all of my words together. My brain is running faster than my mouth is, and that's something because my mouth does run. So if you don't get a clear, crisp image, the first time you stamp, you can just flap that bad boy over and you can restamp so that you do get a clean, crisp image. So I am using my aqua pigments. I do decide to go ahead and place it on top of an acrylic block. An acrylic block is a great little palette. You don't have to pull out a big old watercolor palette or anything like that. It's just a tiny little block right there in your space. Usually they're within arm's reach. Super easy to use. So I do fill in the wreath with some green, and this is just going to be a regular old wreath, right? It's not a Christmas wreath, although it ends up looking a little bit Christmas colors because of the red, the green, and the gold, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a Christmas theme here. I'm going to go ahead and add in my aqua pigments here. Now, I am using varying shades, and you can vary your shades of your aqua pigments by how much water you add to it. So if you use it full strength, it's going to be a darker color. If you add a little bit of water, it'll lighten it some. If you add a little bit more water, again, it'll lighten it some. If you add a lot of water, it will almost be like a translucent watercolor wash. So that is the beautiful thing about an aqua pigment, is you can have one color and get varying shades of it. So it's almost like having graduated stamp pads, right? Ink pads. So it is a beautiful thing. So my door is going to be this gorgeous gray color here. And I'm just going to make sure to color in all the little bits that need to be colored. And I am using a small little tiny brush to get some of the smaller areas, the little detail areas of the molding on the door and things like that. What that's going to do is allow me to give my door a little bit of depth. It's not going to be just kind of a flat picture. It's going to have dimension because of the varying colors. Now, I have no idea what I'm doing. There's no art reason behind it other than I think it looks good. I also decide to use that same color in the center of the wreath because my wreath is going to go on the door, and when I cut it out, I'm not going to cut out in the center of the wreath. So if I just put the wreath on top of the door and the center of the wreath has the same color of the door, excuse me, it's going to look like you're not even going to realize that the wreath center isn't cut out. Just a little cheating trick right there. So I'm going to take the like the greenery sprigs. I'm not exactly sure what kind of greenery it's supposed to be. I'm not all up on my plant name knowledge, but what I've decided to do is stamp this on top of my background. And I'm not going to stamp the entire background. I'm going to leave the center open, and that is because the door is going to go there. So there's no sense in me of stamping all of this extra space when you're not even going to see it. So I place the door on top of the card. I am using the grid mat, my work surface grid mat, to go ahead and make sure that it is centered and straight and not some crooked door on a card. And then I go ahead and use some adhesive to get that wreath on top of the door. And then I decide, you know what, this could be a We Have Moved card. Wasn't exactly sure where I was going with this for sentiment wise, but this one works. So I use that same gray color and I place it on top of my white cardstock. I'm going to stick that in my stamp positioner tool and go ahead and stamp We've Moved right over top of that gray inked area. Then I'm going to cut that out into a fun little banner shape and place it on top of the card. And then that is going to do it for this card, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining me as I actually create a card instead of a scrapbook layout. Unbeknownst to you and me, I actually think I am kind of a card maker. Sometimes I make a card and I'm like, dang, I am a card maker. This is one of those times because I really do like this card. I am going to use some tissue tear tape to go ahead and place this card on top of a black card panel. I don't know what it is, but I really do like my cards on black card panels. That just makes me happy. So anyway, you guys, there it is. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining me for this card video, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.